topic is Vicchara Shuddhi. Vicchara Shuddhi means a refinement of our thoughts, a refinement of our mental process. The perception, the means for perception in us are the senses. Through the senses only we gather all these things. 5 senses are there. Through these 5 senses only we gather information. So, and then this information then becomes a subtle counterpart, a subtle form of things. Sukshma Rupa, the Sthula Rupa, the gross form of this information takes a Sukshma Rupa as an impression, as a mental impression, or a thought, a feed for the thought. A feed for the thought, it becomes a repository, an archive. So whatever we have gathered through our senses. So this, what we gather through the senses is forms we gather through the visual faculty, and then sound we gather through the auditory faculty, smell we gather through the olfactory sense, and then taste also is gathered by the tongue, and touch, tactile sense with the skin we gather. These things are continuously gathered. And one more thing is gathered, it's not just sound that is gathered. Along with the sound, some other attributes are also gathered from where the sound has come. And second time we gather the sound, a memory of that sound, I gathered the sound through that one, is it the same? So there is an intellectual process also going on there. In addition to just the sound as an object of hearing, just a sound. But here, comparative study also starts there. If there is already an impression of sound, it will compare it. See, is it as loud as that sound was? Is it the same as that sound was? So all these analytical faculty also is there. It's not just a registry. For example, the camera has got absolutely no capacity to analyze what photo has been taken. But the computer has got the capacity. Suppose you are copying something and putting it there. The same are already existing, some images of the same are already existing, it will say. Therefore, the programming of the CPU is different from the program of the camera. The camera just captures. So it is like an auditory sense or a visual sense which does not analyze. But same thing when it goes to the computer, it starts analyzing. Therefore, in us there is a camera as well as a computer. In other words, from looking at the human brain or the computer was made. Looking at the function of the human mechanism only, the computer itself is made. So a robo is nothing but an imitation of a human being. A robo is an imitation of him. It's not reverse. Not that the robo came first and then came the man. A robo is an imitation of the human being. And even the camera is an imitation of the faculty of the human being to gather things and then register them. Gather and register. So keeping this in mind, now classification is the intellectual capacity. It classifies, beautifully organizes things inside and keeps them. And the moment we have a second time we see something, it takes from that archive and says, yes, you had already seen this earlier. You had already seen this earlier. This is as far as the classification is concerned. Exactly like a computer analysis, exactly like a computer. Completely giving you all the details, a little, maybe little, not so systematically as the computer, because computer is meant to be systematic, whereas human being is meant to be totally beautifully open. So it gives many possibilities, hundreds of thousands of possibilities. And along with this one, the other part of the brain, the right side part of it, what it does, it adds beautiful things. It adds some emotions. This is the same photo which you saw 10 years ago. This is the same photo which you saw 10 years ago, is the intellect telling you. This is the same photo which you saw 10 years ago. Mind is saying, you cried that time, don't you know? You saw that photograph, you cried. Now, even before saying it, you start crying. Even before the brain has given the information that it's the same photo, even that slight hazy nearness to that also, this emotion will start. Even the hazy nearness, suddenly there will be an emotional counterpart working there. So, emotions analysis. Emotions analysis, continuously it is working in our body. So this emotional part of it makes us much different than any computer in the world. Because no computer has got any emotions whatsoever. Robots don't have emotions. But man, he emotes. Emotes means there is some individuality in him. There is an individuality in him, and that I is very different from the I in the other person. In the root it is the same, but the reflected I is different from everybody. The root I is the same, but the reflected I is so different. From the reflection only came the individuality. Nan under Tanipatta and Tanipatta, totally differentiated, totally differentiated. So you see, the moment you see a flower, let us say two friends are going and they see a rose. See, the moment they see a rose, one person runs towards the red rose, so beautiful. The other person sees the butterfly and runs towards the butterfly and says, so beautiful. So it's not the same thing, both don't go to the rose. One person goes to the butterfly, one person goes to because the butterfly is a reminder for this person of something which he saw in the past. Whereas to the other, the rose is the reminder. Both are emotional only. Both are emotional. And the third person, suppose the third person comes, he just goes and sees the color and says, yeah, it's very similar to the Vicchara colors. Very similar to the Vicchara, rainbow color. There is no emotion there, just an analysis. So same object can be seen by different people in different ways, and then different types of thoughts can arise. These are all the natural tendencies of the human. Natural. Absolutely natural. But emotions also can change. Analytical capacities can change if there is a training. With training, emotional capacities also can change. Emotional attributes can change, and then analytical capacities also can change with training. So if the person right at childhood or at any given age is put into a company, a particular group, particular type of thinkers, particular type of people who have particular emotions, slowly all his both emotions and analysis capacity are influenced by these people. And here we have another thing. When these emotions and analysis capacity are now slowly transferred to speech, slowly transferred. For example, let us say we all, when we were in school, we suddenly took a book. We took a book and started reading the book. We have not seen the author. Just learned the English language. The moment we took the book and started reading, we start emoting. What a wonderful words. Because we know how to understand the meaning, but we have not seen the author, but this author is influencing us. The author is indirectly, he did not want, through the book he might have intended, but directly there is no specifics, he wants to emote, he wants us to respond like this only. That's not the way. He just wrote his thoughts. The moment he transferred his thoughts into a book form, now you are reading, actually it looks as though you are going into his brain and then behaving like he was behaving. This is as far as the written book. Then words, you went and attended some discourse or speech. The moment you attended, he is going on speaking. As he is speaking, you are responding. You are responding. Different ways you are responding. And then you have the movie. And then movie, the lyrics, the one who has written the script, the director, they have beautifully, so nicely, they have combined all these things and made it that you are starting again to analyze and emote. So you see the influence of the external world, intentionally or unintentionally, it is changing us. intentionally or unintentionally it is changing us, no? Now if you ask somebody, would you like to be like somebody, then you have an ideal and say, I like to be like that person. Suppose there is a very, very independent person. I don't want to be like anybody. I want to be myself. So we have the pride of being ourselves also. But sometimes we have an ideal. We are so much completely overwhelmed by that personality that we want to be like that. So this overwhelming feeling of wanting to be like somebody, the reason is because such an impact he has had on me. So great an impact he has had. Now take out all these things. Then you come to another part. Is there anything which I want to be independent of anybody's influence? Without taking anybody as example. But is there any drive in me? I should be like this. That there is no example for me in the world. I want to be something like that. Sometimes that also happens. What exactly would I like to be? I don't know. But there is something in prompting. Whenever I do something, I do it in a manner actually aiming for something there. So when you say perfection, keeping things neatly, perfection. Another person doesn't want to keep things neatly, but you want to keep it artistically. Not just neatness. Not just keeping things in a particular place as they were earlier. But he says, instead of keeping less, I want to slightly raise the front of this paduka and keep it. Or I want to slightly raise the behind so the paduka is visible. So artistic. So like this, art is something which is a very, very novel type of thing. I need not have to imitate anybody. It's my own way of doing things. My own way of doing things. So art is always special. That's why art has got no limits at all. Art has got no limits. Anybody can express himself in any way he wants. So many possibilities are there. It may coincidentally be similar to somebody or something what somebody has done. But that's not the art is not like that. Art is something which freely expresses. So all these possibilities once you come to know, then what is this Vicchara Shuddhi? In this context only we come to the topic Vicchara Shuddhi. So now those thoughts which bring down my blissful state, whichever thought it might be, which brings down my natural state of happiness. Any thought it can be. It can be any thought. If it is going to bring down my natural state of happy living, happy being, then that thought has to be now slowly, slightly tested, modified by me, so that it doesn't affect me, it doesn't bring me down in my life, it doesn't reduce my bliss. For example, as you are sitting down, we have a thought about the atmosphere here. We have thought about the atmosphere here, and this atmosphere, because of our nature, because of our upbringing, some are used to the AC, some are not used to the AC, some are used to fresh air. So this thought has just arisen. I wish it could be a little cooler. I wish it could be a little cooler. This is a natural thought because of some condition, previous condition. Because of some previous condition. There are children who cannot stay without AC. They come and immediately take things and put on the AC. Immediately they put on the AC. So this way you see, and then this is one particular thought which is, I wish it could be a little cooler. This thought has come. Now is this thought is disturbing me from my blissful state, a state of peace, and it has caused what is called as an agitation in me. It has caused an agitation in me. So now, because it has caused agitation, the normal solution to this would be to switch on the AC. Normal solution to this one is to switch on the AC. That is a normal solution. Is there any other solution to this one? Other than switching on the AC? Because here I have to consider the other people also. I have to consider the presence of the other people also. So if I switch on the AC, it's going to benefit me, and perhaps benefit me, but what about the others? The second thought is how to solve this problem. It's a simple thought. How to solve this problem now? Therefore, in order to make sure that this thought, a similar thought like this, one thought is, for example, the atmosphere being warm, I want it cool. Another thought is somebody talking. Somebody is talking. That is also disturbing me. It's not disturbing me. Now, what I intend is, I want a peaceful atmosphere because the activity I am doing is peaceful. I don't want somebody to talk. So, shall I tolerate it and keep quiet, or shall I make them to keep quiet? It's like switching on the AC or tolerating. So in every thought of yours, there is a possibility of not changing the outside, but changing the inside. Every thought which arises, along with that there is a possibility of, that is, if you want something, that wanting something can be tolerated, that is, you don't fulfill that. You don't fulfill that, or you fulfill that. Both are possible. You either fulfill that, in other words, you get it done such that it becomes convenient to you, or you don't get it done. These are the only two possibilities. Among these possibilities, sometimes we have to choose the one, sometimes we have to choose the other. So this choice only is our wisdom, and this is the process for Vicchara Shuddhi also. One third possibility is, such a thought never arises in me about the atmosphere itself. Now the thought has arose, and solution is a must, some solution has to be done. Or the thought itself doesn't arise. How is it possible that the thought about the atmosphere doesn't arise at all? How is that possible? That is possible only when you have a preparation. You have a preparation for that, that you get used to earlier itself, before the situation arises that you have to endure something. You prepare yourself for the endurance. That is, the military people are prepared for all endurances. The military people are prepared. What they are, they go through toughest situations even in the normal days. During the training period itself, they are put into such situations that they actually face a possible situation in the future. So once they face the situation, for example, drowning situation, they are put into water and are made to be there for some more time. They have to hold their breath. So what happens? In case there is an eventual possibility that he is drowning, he will not be defeated by that breathlessness like a normal person. So that means a preparation also will change our thoughts. Preparation of actually formulating different thoughts itself. So Vicchara Shuddhi means you are going to prepare yourself in different manners by the association of different people. Slowly you make your thoughts such a manner that become adaptability to any circumstance. Once the thoughts will rise, then what thought might rise? For a normal person, thought will rise that the AC. For the other person, I am attending to what is happening now, not to the other things. I am attending to what is happening now, and not to any other thing, any other paraphernalia. I attend to only that one. So I forget completely. Even the body might sweat. Even the body might sweat because of this altar, but my attention is not there. My attention is not there. The reason is I have trained myself. I have trained myself to concentrate on the most important thing, not on the auxiliary things. That is how the tapasya also is done. How the rishis did tapasya, how the great masters performed tapasya or meditation. How did they do it? Initially they also were tormented by this. Initially they also were tormented by all these external influences. But gradually what happened? They did not attend to the diversions. The diversions were there. Hundreds of diversions were there. But they trained themselves not to attend to diversions. Who trained them? Their gurus. The gurus who were there, they trained them. They used to tell them, this you do it. When you are doing many things, distractions will come, you are not going to attend to it. Keep on doing, keep on doing, keep on doing. Gradually what happens is, you become one-pointed on that. Once you become one-pointed on that, all the external influences become secondary. We normally attend to the external situation only when this is not so important. Only when this is not so important. To such an extent, the Yoga Shastra has gone and said, it says, even sleep is a thought. Sleep is not a state. It is a thought. That means, it is not so important. At the back of the mind, something is not so important, therefore, I need not attend to that now, therefore I can sleep. Sleep is a thought. Sleep is a thought which is an analysis of a non-priority existing. There is no priority to anything is there. Therefore, because there is no priority, automatically you allow the sleep to take over. When there is something very, very important, for example, a businessman, if he's going to, let's say, just somebody promised 10 crores I'm going to pay you tomorrow morning. And for that you require to give me some documents. What happened to the sleep then? You'll be preparing the document and no attention towards sleep at all. Why? Priority is there. What happened to the sleep which used to normally come by 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock? What happened to that? How did it vanish? It has got a very least priority now. Absolutely no priority to the sleep. And if it's children, they won't listen to you when you ask them to study. But if it is watching a cartoon or something, then they will absolutely attentively, whole night they will see. What happened to their sleep? What happened to the sleep? The child which used to go automatically fall asleep and more asleep when it starts reading. When the school book is taken, sleep will be. Because for it, in its mind, there is no priority for studying. Absolute no priority. Entertainment has got maximum priority in its mind. So as you bring more and more things which are in your that mind priority, then absolutely even sleep will vanish. That's a clear indication. It's a clear indication that sleep also is a thought. Military, when they are in the border and they are going to be attacked by enemies and it is night, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, do you think they can sleep? They cannot sleep because priority what they have given is to that one. Priority, moment you give priority. And that is how you completely transcend sleep. If you give priority to God, the moment you give priority to God or very high level of realization, what happens? Sleep becomes a secondary aspect. Absolutely secondary aspect. Now what happens to the body? Will it withstand that? Question is, will the body be able to take so much of strain? It will go completely, there won't be any, as you go on, there won't be any symptoms of any sort of damage to the body also. Hunger also is like that. Even hunger is like that. Normally whatever you practice with, that becomes your habit. Because it has become a habit, by the time 1 o'clock, the thought of food arises. The thought of food arises first, and then only actually the hunger takes over. The thought of food arises. Thought is so the moment the thought arises, then you just are allowing it to be fulfilled, that's all. Suppose there is a meeting taking place. It's 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. You are deciding a very, very important matter. It will not torment you. So hunger, thirst, sometimes even excretory functions. It's the truth. Even excretory functions which you are not able to tolerate in the normal days, you start tolerating them also. So that is the power of thought. So thought can be modified, altered by your will. The stronger your will is, the more effective your capacity to alter these thoughts, modify these thoughts. So this willpower is what we are slowly, gradually building up by doing activities. Through activity we build our willpower. Suppose there is an activity which warrants my presence for 3 hours attentively. I slightly increase to 3.5 hours. So I attend another half an hour additional. So I have already conquered that I am now not a slave to time also. I am not a slave to some tendencies also. I give it another half an hour extra. So 5 hours, 6 hours. You see, in the martial arts, martial arts, children are practicing martial arts. Wonderful way. They have to stand in one posture for hours together. Hours together they have to stand. And they get food only when they complete the 10 The 36 beautiful Shaolin, so beautiful. They have to stand, balance, and then have their food. They have to stand on a log which is in water, stand on that and then have his food. And if he manages to stand, then he has the food, otherwise no food. So he is deprived of food, and for the sake of food he will learn that art. For the sake of food, you will start learning that art. So like this, gradually you see, this mind is the master of most of our functions, not most, all our functions. Mind is the master. If you are able to train your mind with the will, then comes Vicchara Shuddhi. The word Vicchara Shuddhi is, why you call it Shuddhi? Because Shodhana, not in the sense of cleanliness, it is a filtering. Shodha is not necessarily only Shuddhi, cleaning. It is the sense of filtering what you want, what you don't want. You are going to decide. What you retain is on the top of the filter, or what you don't want is on the top of the filter. Anyway, it can be done. You want the top to be held, it will be held. If you want the bottom to take, you can take the bottom. So a filter is used for both purposes. You can choose the top or the bottom, but the filter is necessary. The filter is association of good people, strong people, like-minded people. Align yourself with them. Gradually your mind